Hi everyone, this is Grishakov. Today we are finally making a video on how we set up our marketing campaign for our game, Offline Dice. For those of you who don't know us, we have a game that's called Offline Dice, which will soon reach the milestone of 100,000 downloads. We currently promote Offline Dice only through Google Ads, as we haven't managed to master Facebook and TikTok ads yet, although we are in the process of doing it. For Google Ads, the first thing we do is we always begin our test with the American audience, meaning that we set up the marketing campaign only for the USA. We do this because it's the most paying country and audience out of all, so our game with the ads always have the highest CPM and fill rate in the US, and we always know that we will find an advertiser in this country. This audience actively makes in-app purchases and watches our ads that we get paid for, and hence is the perfect choice for making your marketing tests and monetization tests. This is an important factor that you should consider when planning your marketing campaign. The second stage begins once we have collected enough data about other countries, as along with the US traffic that we purchase, we organically get traffic from English-speaking countries like Canada, Australia, New Zealand and the UK. Also mentioned India here, but India is a topic that we'll discuss in another video. Once we have enough of this information stored in Firebase, we look at the LTV, which is the income from a single user from those countries, and if we see that we are ready to set up a marketing campaign for those countries, then we go ahead with it. So basically, we first promote in America, gather an audience and make sure the game works, then set up the marketing campaign for English-speaking countries and test them. Then, as the third stage, we add localization. In our case is German, French, Korean and Japanese languages, after which we will switch to all other countries. I think this should all make sense, so let's switch to Google Ads and explore our setup in detail. We always begin our ad campaigns by purchasing simple installations from the USA. Then we move to making advertisements focused on internal events rather than simple installations. In our case, it's the event of finishing the 5th level. This is important because rather than purchasing a target audience, which is people that would simply download our game for a very cheap price, we find people who would spend more time playing the game, finishing levels and new game modes. These are the people that will be watching advertisements in the game and making in-app purchases. The final step is our current active marketing campaign, which is called Action In-App Purchase, as you can see on the screen right now. This means that we have set up our ad campaigns to acquire users that will most likely make an in-app purchase. Here you can see that we've spent $238 and we are purchasing a single user on average for $7.45. Now this is expensive, but I'll show you in a second that it only took us 2 days to break even with this campaign. And I hope that we'll continue making profit and we will be able to scale this campaign. Once you have finished with a single country and you are able to buy cheap installations, you begin launching other campaigns, which we will also explore in this video. This campaign here is for installs from Canada, where we once again begin by purchasing simple installs, and when we find some sort of audience, we go further. Here we have installs from Australia and New Zealand, where we pay 26 cents for a single install, and in total we have purchased 119 installs. Also 257 installs in Canada. And here we also have a campaign for iOS. We have also had a campaign for the UK, but it wasn't profitable, so we disabled it. For some reason the Brits did not enjoy our game as much. For iOS, we let Google set up the install price on its own, and it makes sure that we spend our ad budget as effectively as possible. Here we are spending $3 and are receiving 3 to 4 installs every day. Currently is very expensive, but we are gathering all the information to find what to do with it next. Our focus is to analyze the statistics and understand how they can be improved. So to start a marketing campaign, you begin by choosing app promotion and select a game from the drop-down list. In our case is Offline Dice. Your game needs to be an open release for it to appear here, as well as not have any emojis in its name. I used to have a dice emoji here because it helped the search indexing, but it made it impossible to advertise the game. Next, we give our campaign a name. We always try to come up with a meaningful name that includes the date and the focus of the campaign, such as installations or max installations or action 5th level. Next, I have been asked by some people how to set up the campaign for a specific country. So here we just type in and select the United States, and that is all you'll need to do. Next, languages. In our case, we never select a language because if the campaign is set for the US, then it does not matter what language your device is in because you will still be able to play our game. After this, we set the data budget. I would recommend going with up to $10. Next, if you have just created your Google Ads account and have not yet set Firebase, then you'll only be able to purchase installations. You want to set a target price of install. To do that, you need to enable this checkbox. And again, I would recommend having a smaller initial budget. The great thing about Google is that it always tries to save your budget. For example, if you set this to 30 cents, it will try to buy users for 10 cents, maybe 15 cents. It could start at 30 cents, but over time, it will gradually optimize to spend as little as possible. However, you might receive no traffic at all for a whole day or two, and if this happens, it means that you've set your target cost per install too small, and you would need to raise it. You can immediately increase it by a lot, for example by 50%, but generally it is not recommended to increase the budget by more than 10 or 20% in a single day, as it would mean that the algorithm will lose all its knowledge about your campaign and will have to start learning from the beginning. Though if it is a fresh campaign and it does not have any statistics saved, then this does not matter and you can increase the budget however you want. That's it, we click save and go to the next section. Here we write the advert headlines that will be shown to the users. You need to come up with something non-offensive and without exclamation marks, such as best game ever or only 1 out of 10 can beat it. You are given 5 headline slots and it is advisable to fill in all 5 headlines, making sure they are all completely different. I won't show you the headlines that we use in our campaigns so that we don't get completely copied, as our game itself is already being copied by others. Then in the descriptions you write extra information for people who need it. For example, tower defense game or buy dice to defend your base. The description has to be fairly brief as it has a limit of up to 90 symbols and it is best to fill in all 5 boxes. Next is images. Images normally have no effect and are rarely used. They are simply banners that will be shown to the users. Videos, on the other hand, can be used. With videos, you upload them on YouTube, usually in format of 16:9 or 4:3, and simply add the link in here. However, when you're just starting out, I would recommend to not bother making any videos and just go with text. As you can see here, Google makes quite good ads just by using our existing screenshots, icon, name, as well as its information about the game. You can see how the ad would look in the search results, which include the headline as well as the number of reviews. This is how it would look on YouTube, and the discover option shows how it would look on other websites. Then after this, we click save and continue once again, and this creates a new marketing campaign, which I won't do right now. So you've created a marketing campaign for installations, and the next step will be to make a campaign for actions. To switch to action-focused campaigns, you should be collecting information in Firebase, where you have conversions set up for different events that you could base the marketing campaign on. This could be finish in the 5th level, or the 10th level, or make an in-app purchase. And you take these events and mark them as conversions with this switch. After this, you'll be able to set these conversions as the focus of your campaigns instead of install volume, and this will take your promotions to a completely different level. I will show you this in detail. First, go to events, where you have millions of different events, and select one of them. For example, event 7-day item 0, and click the switch to make it appear in the conversions page as well as in the Google Ads. So if we go back to Google Ads, you'll see that we have this action campaign that we've had for the longest amount of time. Here you can see that we've received 20,000 clicks, spent $1,500, received 4,900 installations for the average price of 31 cents. And you can also see that on average, each player that reached the 5th level, which is the focus of our campaign, cost us $1.09. An important thing to do is when you have created an ad campaign, you need to open up the Audiences tab on Firebase and create an audience specifically for this campaign. We always give the audience the same name as the marketing campaign. This will make Firebase separate these players from others and connect our campaign with player statistics. Here we want to make sure that if the traffic does not cover the cost of the campaign, then it should at least almost cover it. For example, we have always had a loss of about 30% with our campaigns, which however is getting covered with organic traffic. Now you can see that we've selected our audience name, Offline Dice Action 5 level, and we can analyze this audience. For instance, you can see that on average we have been gaining 25 cents from each player in the past month. We have received almost $350 from in-app purchases and $188 from the ads. To sum up, you set a specific action for your campaign, buy traffic, and try to make as many improvements to the game as you can to make this ARPU value grow, as well as this value, which is the average play session, as well as this LTV value, which is how much a player spends in the game in total. You do this until you know that you cannot make any more global improvements, which is when you make a campaign with the in-app purchases as the action. Also, as you can see here, we've paused our 5th level campaign, as otherwise our 2 campaigns would be competing with each other. Now let's have a look at our marketing campaign that we have set up for in-app purchases. We have only launched it 3 or 4 days ago and it has already broken even and started profiting. For this campaign, we used the in-app purchase event from Firebase, as I'll show you here. We set the campaign in the same way as last time, and here, rather than selecting the install volume as the focus, we find the in-app purchase event, after which we set how much we'd like to pay for each user. To work out how much we'd like to pay for this campaign, we've taken the price of our most popular in-app purchase item, which is $5. We only keep $3.50 from this amount because Google takes away 30%. However, we can add to this value the amount of money that we make from organic traffic, and that is why we've set the budget of $4. This is slightly less than we might have earned from one player, but we decided to go with this budget to make sure that we do not spend all of our revenue. Now, let's have a look at the actual campaign. As I mentioned, we have only had this campaign for a few days, but we already have our first results. If we set the date to the 6th of September, which is 2 days after we've launched the campaign, you can see that we have already started profiting. Initially, when you start a campaign, you immediately start losing money, but as you can see here, we are already covering our costs. We have spent $50 and received 54 installs. This is much more than our normal install price, which is 31 cents, while this is 93 cents. So it's 3 times more, but on the other hand, these people are making in-app purchases. As I mentioned earlier, we're making $4 on each in-app purchase, while the cost of attracting players that will make these purchases is only $2.65. So we are making $1.35. So in theory, if rather than spending $50 we had spent $5,000 on this campaign, we would have made roughly $2,000. In-app purchases are usually made within a few days after installation, so you should not expect to see any profit immediately. Yesterday we have bought installs for a higher price and on average paid $10 for each action, though I think this number will improve later. Google will be trying out different audiences, and after a couple of weeks you will have a fixed budget that will be spent every day. An important thing to mention is that to have the Google Ads algorithm learn very fast, you need to have the ad campaign bring at least 10 in-app purchases a day. On this date, we've only got 5 purchases, but that is because we've paid too much for the individual installs. So since we want to spend $4 or $5 on each user that makes an in-app purchase, and we need to have 10 purchases a day, we multiplied 5 by 10, and that is how we've decided on our daily budget of $50. This is it. I hope I've shown you well how to go from installs to actions, from actions to in-app purchases. And later, once you've improved the monetization in the game and are profiting every day, you start slightly increasing the budget. Once again, you should increase by no more than 10 to 15% a day. And if your ad campaign works really well, you should increase it by about 10% every couple of days. So the reason we set our ad campaigns in this order, the reason we go from installs to events to in-app purchases, is that we need to find out how much each installation costs us and how the acquired users play our game. This allows us to work out the budget for the in-game events, which in our case was reaching the 5th level. For example, if we know that one installation costs us 30 cents, and if we find out that every second player reaches the 5th level, it means that we can pay 60 cents for each player that reaches this action. The reason you need to focus on these players is that it is a higher quality audience compared to the players that were acquired by paying for installations, which can just delete the game before getting to know it. Targeting the installations also gives us statistics on how the acquired players make in-app purchases, and once we have enough of this data, Google will be able to effectively acquire players that will be making in-app purchases. Next, we have campaigns for Canada as well as Australia and New Zealand, which we join in one campaign as they're relatively small countries. Other than that, we have CPI of 27 cents and 31 cents because they have only been active for 14 days. We haven't spent much money on them. As you can see, we have set the budget to $12 and $10 a day, but we are spending much less because the campaigns aren't very successful in acquiring purchases yet. This is how much our installs cost us in Canada at the moment, and we are currently only analyzing the data from this campaign because it only profits half the time. With these two campaigns, we will go through the same journey as we did with the USA. We will first be buying installations, then once we have gathered enough data, we will analyze the audience acquired, how much we earn from them, how much they play time-wise, what actions they take in the game, and with this information we set an action focus for our new campaign that suits this particular audience. If we find out that, for example, every second player from this audience reaches the 5th level, then we will aim for a CPI of 42 cents. This will bring us a higher quality audience that would be more engaged with the game, reach higher levels and spend more time in the game. And then this will allow us to focus our campaign on the in-app purchases for this country. This is how we will carry out marketing campaigns in every country we decide to promote the game in. Once we are able to profit from an in-app purchase focused campaign, we simply focus on scaling this campaign by increasing our budget indefinitely as long as it continues profiting. Although we are still battling the iOS version campaign, I assume you would also be interested in seeing our current progress with it. Our iOS campaign has been active for quite a while, but it has not had much effect so far. As you can see, we've spent a total of $39 on it and received only 47 installations for 83 cents each. Now, this is very expensive, so let's explore this audience in Firebase in detail. On average, these players only spend 8 minutes in the game, which is much less than in our Android version. Also, our ARPU is just 1 cent. Looking at these statistics, I believe the only option we have is to visually improve the game, improve the App Store page, and make some strong promotional images. This is because for iOS, the text ads are not as effective as they are on Android, and for iOS, we will have to rely on video advertisements instead. You can see on the screen one of our current videos, which is a short 30-second teaser uploaded to YouTube that receives around 500 views daily, and to increase this number, you would need some new videos. I believe having strong promotional videos has a massive impact on your iOS campaign. It is important that your videos are following trends. For this purpose, you should have a look at the advertisements that are currently being used by popular games and try to pick out suitable elements and adapt them for your own ads. For example, showing noob versus pro gameplay, or making one of the videos with pulling keys. So what we'll need to do is to design our new promo videos, make them, and then test them. In my opinion, to face success, you should be making and testing maybe 2, 3, 4 videos a week, throwing out any that aren't effective and keeping the effective ones. This way, in say 2 to 3 months, we would have a specific amount of highly effective videos that we will be able to use indefinitely. This process is quite tedious, hence why we haven't been focusing enough on our iOS promotion and hence are having minimal results. Currently, we have 4 active videos because we are still focused on improving the game interface, and once that is over, we will begin producing multiple promo videos weekly for as long as we can and using them in Google Ads, Facebook and TikTok. I think this would make the game a massive success. This is all I wanted to tell you today. I hope I've made it very clear to you how we carry out our marketing campaigns, and you'll be able to apply this knowledge in your own projects too. There is nothing too difficult, you just need to set up the analytics for Firebase and then move step by step from purchasing installs to in-game events, and once you finish polishing your monetization, move to buying in-app purchases. And then expanding this final marketing campaign should be your primary focus until you can start applying the knowledge you've gained about the USA audience to other countries. Now, it is a lot of work, but if you start earning money through it, you may be able to hire specialists to take care of it for you. That's it, you're watching Grishakov. As always, you can leave your questions in the comment section and I'll try to answer them all. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and to tap the bell button to never miss new videos because they'll be very cool. Bye now.